How's it going, everybody? Roseman here, today bringing you another deck list video. Today we'll be going over my green-purple Monkey D. Luffy deck list. This is the EB02 Monkey D. Luffy. He is a 5k power leader and has an activate main, Dawn -2. If the only characters on your field are Straw Hat Crew type characters, set up to 2 of your Dawn cards as active. And this leader gains plus 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. So clearly we're going to be playing a Straw Hat heavy build for this, which will bring us into our first card. We run 4 copies of EB02 Nami. 1 cost to 2k power, 1k counter. On play, look at 5 cards from the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew type card other than Nami and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. This will be one of your searchers that you want to see, ideally a first turn. Obviously good to see late game. You can pull 2k counters with this. You can pull any of the cards you need. You can even pull some of your mid-range searchers. So 4 copies of EB02 Nami. Next, we have 2 copies of EB02 Roro Zoro. He's 4 cost, 5k power, 1k counter, with the ability of if your opponent has 2 or more characters, this character can attack characters on the turn in which it is played. And an on-play ability, if your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. Super good to see. You can use this to rest a character and swing into it if there's 2 or more characters in your opponent's to get a swing on turn 1, or if your opponent's got a blocker and you just need to get by it, you can use this to help rest that. So pretty good card, but we'd only own 2 copies of it. Next is our final green character card, a single copy of OP06 Hody Jones. 7 cost, 8k power with rush, and on play rest up to a total of 2 of your opponent's characters or Dawn cards. Then add 1 card from the top of your life to your hand. This is in the deck for like any of your other Luffy matchups. Any kind of purple Luffy that's running Gum Gum Giant. That's really what this is in there for. Obviously you can use it to kind of rest some stuff too if you need to. You need to get past like a wall of blockers. You can use him to kind of rest a couple of them. But primarily you're going to use this for that Dawn resting for Gum Gum Giant. Next, we're going to dive into some of the purple characters. We have EB02 Nico Robin, 3 cost, 2k power, 1k counter. She's a blocker with an on-KO ability. You'll go down 1 Dawn, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, reveal 1 Straw Hat Crew type card, and add to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Super good. Turn 2 play if you're going first. You can get her on board, and then you can block out of an attack and search into something if you're not seeing something in hand that you need. So that's pretty good. Otherwise, it's another 1k counter in hand. Not a bad thing to have there. Next, we have 3 copies of EB02 Frankie. 3 cost, 4k power, 1k counter. On play and when attacking, if your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type and the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, add up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and rest it. So it's super good here. This is a little bit of your Dawn Rampage. If you don't have like a Robin on turn 2, you maybe play this Frankie, because the Frankie can then continue to ramp you some Dawn turn over turn over turn. It's going to get super good in that late game if you're going down too much Dawn. But super good early game, plus you've got the 1k counter and he's searchable. So 3 of those Frankies. Next, we have 4 copies of Starter Deck 18 Uso Hachi. 3 cost 3k power, 2k counter on play. If you have 8 or more Dawn cards on your field, rest up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 5 or less. Name me a purple Straw Hat deck that doesn't run this card right now. It is just probably the best utility 2k counter in the game at the moment. So obviously we're going to run 4 copies of that Usohachi. Next, another one of our searchers, 4 copies of Starter Deck 18 Zoro Joro. 4 cost, 6k power on play. Look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, reveal up to 1 purple Straw Hat Crew type card, and add it to your hand, then place the rest at the bottom of your deck in any order. Super great searcher, looks for any purple Straw Hat, so you can find those Robins, you can find Frankie, you can find Gum Gum Giant, you can find Sanji Pudding. There's a lot of searchables with this card. Plus, he's a big body. 4 on, and you get a 6k body on board. Super good there. So 4 copies of that Zoro Joro. Next, one of the keystones of this deck, 4 copies of EBO2 Sanji and Pudding. 5 cost, 7k power. Your turn, when 2 or more Dawn cards on your field are returned to your Dawn deck, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. And on play, if the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, draw 1 card. So, fantastic card. If you're against any ramp decks, purple-black, blue-purple, things like that, this will help you to get a card, help you keep pace as you're using your Dawn minus ability with your leader, and get that Dawn back. You'll want to stack a couple of these on board, so that's why we run 4 of these Sanji Puddings. Plus, it's a 7k body. Very strong. Next, we have 3 copies of EBO2 Secret Monkey D. Luffy. 6 cost, 7k power. If your leader is multicolored and your opponent has 5 or more Dawn cards on their field, this character gains Rush. You see this in purple-black. My purple-black runs this. You could also see it in some blue-purples, but for the most part, just green-purple and purple-black run this guy. It has a when attacking ability. You may return 2 of your active Dawn cards to your Dawn deck. Set this character as active, then add 1 card from the top of your life cards to your hand. Super great rusher, super good late game. Obviously you can play into some Sanji and Pudding to get your Dawn back. But most of the time I think you're going to end up using this guy as a win con kind of in the late game. But 3 copies of him nonetheless. Next, we have 4 copies of OPO7 Sanji. 6 cost, 6k power, 2k counter. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is at least 2 less than the number of your opponent's field, give this card in your hand -3 cost. And he's a blocker, 6k body blocker that you can play out for 3 Dawn. With this build, you're probably going to be below your opponent pretty consistently in Dawn. So, he's really good for that. Plus a solid 2k counter in hand, searchable as well. So 4 copies of that Sanji. Next, 3 copies of Starter Deck 18 Luffy Taro. 7 cost, 8k power. On play, Dawn -1. Play up to 1 purple Straw Hat Crew type character card with a cost of 5 or less from your hand. So you can target Sanji Pudding, Zoro Joro, Robin, Frankie, and then the Sanji if you're matching its cost ability. Tons of targets, get you 2 big bodies or 2 bodies on board, so 2 on plays in a turn. Can help you kind of establish a good board very fast. 3 copies of that Luffy Taro. Next, some of the events. We run a single copy of OPO8 Electrical Luna, 3 cost, main. All of your opponent's rested characters with a cost of 7 or less will not become active in your opponent's next refresh phase. This is a super good one to lock down like a Bello Betty or any of those decks that are going to run just kind of a mid-range, buggy, even my purple black Monkey D Luffy deck list runs a lot of like that 6 cost range, So even with leader ability, it doesn't save them from being frozen with Electrical Luna. So we'll run a copy of that just to kind of get some luck for one turn and try to clear at the same time. Next, we have 2 copies of OPO3 Gum Gum Jet Gatling 0-drop counter. You may trash 1 card from your hand up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 3k power during this battle. Trigger, add up to 1 Dawn from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Really good 0-drop counter to have in hand if you're, running into a situation where you're, not really able to use a Gum Gum Giant, or you've already used one but you still need to get up a couple more attacks. You got Gum Gum Jet Gatling there to back you up. Next, another event, search event this time. 4 copies of OPO5. When you're at sea, you fight against pirates. 1 cost, main. Look at 3 cards on the top of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Straw Hat Crew, Kid Pirate, or Heart Pirates type card, and add it to your hand. Then place the rest at the bottom of the deck in any order. Trigger, activate this card's main effect. Obviously, you can pull any Straw Hat Crew, so pretty much this entire deck is searchable. There's only a handful that you can't pull with this. So for the most part, super good. If you're not seeing Nami in your first hand, you want to be seeing this so you can consistently pull into what you need. So we run 4 copies of that to make sure that we are able to search up what we need to be able to search. Next, we have 4 copies of everyone's favorite Gum Gum Giant, OPO9, 1 cost, counter Dawn -2. You may trash 1 card from your hand if your leader has the Straw Hat Crew type. Up to one of your leader or character cards gains plus 4k power during this turn, during this battle, and then you draw 2 cards. Bread and butter. Every purple Luffy is running this right now. Fantastic card. I know a lot of people are very upset about this, and there's rumors and thoughts going around that it's going to hit the ban list. I don't think it'll hit the ban list. Bandai has already announced in PRBO2 that it's getting a manga print, and I don't think that they would make their manga print, literally worthless before it's even printed. So 4 copies of Gum Gum Giant. Again, bread and butter of a purple build right now. Next, we have a single copy of OPO5 Gamma Knife, 2 cost, main. You Dawn -1, give up to one of your opponent's characters -5k power during this turn. Trigger, add up to 1 Dawn card from your Dawn deck and set it as active. Super good trigger to hit. Also, can bring some of them top range characters into some KO in battle. So super big help there. We only run the single copy of it because it doesn't come up too much. This build is going to kind of just overwhelm your opponent with a heavy board. Lastly, we do run 4 copies of EBO2 Merry-Go Stage. 1 cost stage, on play if your leader is the Straw Hat Crew type, you draw a card, and activate main, you may rest the stage. If the number of Dawn cards on your field is equal to or less than the number on your opponent's field, up to one of your Straw Hat Crew type characters gains +2 cost until the end of your opponent's next turn. 4 copies of that. Super good. Obviously, play it out. You draw a card. You can then rest it and make like your Sanji Pudding out of range for a lot of KO. So that's the whole deck list. Give you guys a couple ideas of how you might want to play the deck. Is you're gonna want to have your Merry-Go's on board. So when you're searching with Nami, you're going to want to find the Merry-Go's. You're going to want to find your Sanji Puddings for the most part. And that's really your engine. The engine behind this one is getting to Sanji Pudding, getting 1 or 2 of those on board, using your leader's ability to go down by 2 Dawn and set 2 Dawn as active. And then because you have down Dawn, Sanji Pudding going to see that you go down 2 Dawn, and so they're going to get you a Dawn as active again. So if you're running 2 of those on board, you're going to get both the Dawn that you sent down back is active, so you're not going to really go down and cost any. The Sanji Pudding does give them back as active. If you have the Frankie on board, you can swing with the Frankie, and the Frankie's going to get you a Dawn ramped. It's important to note with like Frankie, even though he's a 4K power, yeah, you can still swing a 4K at a 5K leader. The attack's gonna fizzle, but you're gonna get that win attacking ability. So if you, sometimes it's not worth investing the Dawn to swing a character like that, because you don't really need the attack to connect if you're just trying to ramp. So yeah, go ahead and feel free to just swing the character, because the Dawn's not going to help you on your opponent's turn. It's not gonna boost a character on your opponent's turn. So if you need the Dawn as active, maybe for a Gum Gum Giant, but you also need to kind of ramp, yeah, swing the 4K. Get the ramp to Dawn, and now you've still got the Dawn as active for like a Gum Gum Giant. It's not necessarily about getting that attack to connect. Other things, obviously, your Nami and when you're at sea you fight against pirates are your key searchers. You need to see those in first hand. I would recommend also trying to see like a Robin. She's not as important in your first hand. If you don't have a Sanji Pudding already in hand and you're searching off Nami in turn 1 and you don't see a Sanji Pudding, maybe you pull your Zoro Joro. Do note that the event card when you're at sea you fight against pirates from OP05 is a Land of Wano type, so it's not a Straw Hat crew. So that one's not going to be searchable either by itself, or by Zoro, or by Nami, or by Robin. So keep that in mind when you're doing your searches. You can't pull the searcher off any of those, but so you should be targeting if you search and you don't see like a Sanji Pudding and you don't have one in hand, but you see like a Zoro Joro in the search, probably should be taking that. You can take the Robin, because on her KO you can get a search off. And if you've got a pretty good setup, it may be worth taking like a Luffy Taro, because then you can Luffy Taro into a Zoro Joro and draw off that Zoro Joro, so you're not really going down any cards. But yeah, that's pretty much the engine. You just want to kind of get to that mid-range, and you're going to hover around that 5 to 7 Dawn pretty consistently, because you're going to be sending stuff down with your leader. You're going to try to get stuff back with your Sanji Pudding, and then you're going to be sending stuff down with your Gum Gum Giant pretty consistently. So you're gonna hover in that 5 to 7 Dawn range. You may drop down to 3 or 4 on occasion too. It's not the end of the world if you do. Just be aware of that. This one is pretty volatile when it comes to some Dawn manipulation. If you ever played Reiju back in the 07, 08 meta, well, I guess not necessarily in 08, she kind of dropped then, but back in 07 when Reiju got real good, if you played her, you know that you typically stayed on the very low end of Dawn. And green purple Luffy plays very similar. So, build it yourself, test it out. Let me know what you guys think. If you have ideas about what you would replace in the deck, let me know. I'd love to have a discussion with you guys down in the comments. If you like the deck list, feel free to give it a like. And if you guys like videos like this, I have tons of other deck lists on my channel, and I've got some gameplay videos. I will have some gameplay of this guy coming up soon. So please subscribe and stick around for some more content. And that's all I had for you guys. See ya.